order.
When you feel depleted.
Are there any additions or deletions to the agenda for this evening? I'm hearing none, so we entertain a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
So moved.
Support. We have motion support. Any last comments or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor please say yes.
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 Any opposed, no. Motion's carried. We have an agenda. Roll has been taken. Is that true?
That is true.
We have roll. So next is Pledge of Allegiance. If everyone will please rise and join us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. Next on our list would be the approval of the March 11, 2025 regular meeting minutes. Your pleasure. Support. We have motion support. Any comments or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor please say yes.
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 Any opposed, no. That motion is carried. Thank you. Moving on to hearings, we are to hold a public hearing for March 25th, 2025 at 6 p.m. or as soon thereafter as the agenda allows, which will be for consideration of an application to the Michigan Department of Natural Resources for a grant for recreational asset improvements.
Move to open the hearing.
Support.
Okay, we have motion support. Comments or questions? I hear none. All those in favor please say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed, no. Motion is carried. The hearing is open. And you're doing it?
Yes.
Eric's taking the lead.
All right. What I'm passing around to you is to help make our decision-making process on dollars and the grants a little bit easier once we go through this.
Extras, do you guys want anybody in the audience want a copy of this? I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. No problem. First, we'll go through the assets that we're looking at for the grant, and then we'll go through the two granting opportunities and the monies available and what we're thinking would be a good match for those. All right, the first one is the Riverside Park deck and pavilion rebuild. If you've been in Riverside Park, we redone the bathroom there. 2014, we put a new playscape there. But since the big renovation was in 1991, believe it or not.
Really?
And that's when this pavilion and this deck and these lights went in. We're not going to do anything with the lights, but the deck does need to be replaced. There's structural issues that need to be dealt with there, and then the pavilion needs a roof and it needs to be cleaned up and looking better. And also we need to replace the site amenities that are there. Those tables that you see there are affixed to the ground, and as you can see from the one picture on the next slide, Curtis, the table on the right-hand side picture, or left-hand side picture, that table does not have a tabletop anymore.
Oh, yeah.
It's just rusted off and it's just gone. It's just useful life is gone. So for that project there to rebuild the overlook deck, that's $360,000. The pavilion, we think we can get that all cleaned up and painted and a new steel roof on that for $60,000, and then the site amenities being replaced at $40,000. The next piece down the Riverwalk there is the boat launch overlook deck. This is one of the larger ones of the decks we have. The pictures show that there's been some heaving, and these walkways, they need to be accessible, handicap accessible. So when you look at the decking, they're not level with the walkways, and the piers that hold them up are either tipping toward the river, or you'll see them, they'll tipping up away from the river. And that's just the pushing and pulling of the different ice and things like that. This overlook deck, it's quite large, and the estimated engineer cost is $310,000 to rebuild that one. And then Conservation Park, we're calling this one Conservation Park Overlook Deck. This is just to the north of our restroom facility there off the Riverwalk. As you can see, it's heaved up. From other than the heaving, and it's not unsafe to walk on and be on or that sort of thing, but that one alone, that's a smaller one, that's still $200,000 to rebuild. Now to get into the sheet I handed out to you, there's two different programs that are available that we think would work for the assets that need to be replaced, and we would like to put applications in for each program. If it gets to the point where they would fund both of them, the city would then make a choice of which application to choose. But we figure throw both of them in, see what we get. The Land and Water Conservation Fund, we have not received one of those grants in a good long while. I think the last one might have been the late 90s, early 2000s. Maximum grant amount is $500,000. It requires a local match of 50% of the total project costs. And then the Natural Resources Trust Fund, this one we used on the bathrooms. There's a maximum grant amount of $400,000 for this program and a minimum of 25% match. And we received 3 or 4 of these since I've been here. So that one we have received some funding on over the years. All right, so what we've done to make it a little bit easier is to make, not easier, but hopefully helps, to make a decision on, what to apply for and under each of the programs. We've given out 4 options there, and we can, take a look at a different option if the commission has some other thought. The Natural Resources Trust Fund, apply for the Riverside Park project only. As we said, that total project is $460,000. Request a grant amount of $230,000, and then local match it at 50% of $230,000. That 50% match will give us a really good opportunity of receiving those funds, because a lot of communities just throw in the 25%. So it is helpful to get you over the hump. Or B, apply for the Riverside Park project, the boat landing overlook deck. That project takes us up to, both of those together would take us to $770,000. And we request a grant amount of $380,000, which would be close to the maximum amount of $400,000, and using the 50% match, $385,000 to get us over that hump. Now, the Land and Conservation Fund, there's $500,000 available there. So if we looked at applying for the Riverside Boat Park, the boat launch overlook deck, and the Conservation Park overlook deck, that's $970,000. Ask for the grant amount of $485,000, local match of $485,000. Again, that one's a $500,000 max request, 50% mandatory for that program. And then on the Land and Conservation Fund, again, look at the Riverside Park and boat landing overlook deck. Again, that would be a total of $770,000. Do a grant request of $385,000 and local match of $385,000. And there's that again is the 50% match. So we just
Which one is that leaving out?
That would leave out the Conservation Park.
Leave out Conservation Park completely. Okay.
Now the one thing I wanted to have a conversation with this group is it's $200,000 to rebuild that deck. Mm-hmm. The boat launch one is a larger one. We do get a lot of use out of that one. Just about 500 yards. Give or take from this deck, from the Conservation Park deck up into Conservation Park, we have another overlook deck that sits there. That gets used quite a bit because it is a nice view looking out toward the west. Just want to throw it out there is, that's why we didn't necessarily put it into every one. On a priority list, that would be do we keep it? Do we keep investing in that one? We could, at some point, remove it. It is safe to walk on, it's just not handicap accessible at this moment. And we could do something different with it, like we've done at the library, where we put in that concrete pad for fishing, at the edge of the road. And if you look at it, there's a little barrier there, so if someone in a wheelchair could go up to it. It's just trying to find a way to maximize the amount of dollars that are there, make sure we get the funding, because it's a whole nother year before we can apply again. And then they give you also some options on, because this most likely, correct me if I'm wrong, Curtis, we'd have to take out whatever our match is will be coming out of fund balance to do this, so.
When were these built? These were all built at the same time, I think.
Darn close to it.
This one here is original that you see in this picture, and that would have been, I'm looking about early 90s, Eric?
That's real close, because they did Riverside Park in 91, and then this was called Phase 1 and 2, where they went along the Pine River, and they did that within the same time period.
A couple of years.
Yeah.
They're all about 30 years old or something.
I think,
And the one at the boat landing was redone in 2000, summer of 2000. That was reconstructed because the piers had substantially lifted, a lot worse than what you see in this one. And those have piers that have been driven down deeper, so it's holding up a little bit better than this one. But that one is more recently done, like I said, summer of 2000. The one at Riverside Park, that's original. Like Eric said, probably 91, 92 was when that was put in.
I notice you're not doing anything, or not planning anything with the boat launch itself. Makes no sense at this point in time, because there are not that many people that go in it, or it doesn't need it.
Just
that dock.
I don't think
The dock, I mean, no, the dock, I mean,
I don't think
the actual
we
boat
encourage
launch.
that. You're talking about the
Yeah, the
drive-
ramp, the ramp.
The ramp is fine,
But
and then the little,
Yeah.
walkway up, that's okay.
That's okay still,
that's
all right, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is just to name it so you could.
Yeah, I know, but it has everything in except for the boat launch itself there, and I mean, I do see people use it. I used to rest my bus there. I had a half-hour break, and it was a nice place to watch the ducks. And so we'd pull in there, and there would, every once in a while, there'd be somebody who had a fishing boat or a speedboat or some kind of thing that they were playing around in the river. So it does get used, but I was never close enough to it to see if it was in decent shape to continue to use. But it is great, and we won't mess with it.
Eric, I like your idea about maybe putting this one like a cement, this one I don't think is used as much, and maybe so that we could save our funds to fix the other ones between Riverside and the boat launch, like when they become, more people use those two in between there, then that one I would think.
It's just the long-term maintenance of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, and my thinking is, quite honestly, go back to on land, put the concrete up on land so you're on solid ground, put a railing up, near the shore so you've got the safety of the railing. Being 4 foot out over the water, to me, doesn't justify $1 million. I just don't see it.
True.
I
You mean for all of them or this one?
For basically all of them, yeah. I mean, you're basically gaining, 6-10 feet? You're not gaining much space. And whether you're on shore looking over the river or you're actually getting that last 10 feet out over the water, I just don't see $1 million for that. I don't see we've got in our budget to spend this kind of money. I mean, even if it's half of
Well,
$500,000.
most of that, or what is it? Riverside Park, the pavilion and that boardwalk and the tables, that's used quite often.
Well, yeah, and I'm fine with doing the tables and putting a roof on the pavilion on ground and everything, but these overlooks going over the water seem very, very expensive.
Well, that's not $1 million.
Well, this whole project is, but
Well, right, but I'm saying, you're saying that the boat launch and this one are $1 million, and that's, the $1 million is the Riverside Park, all the fixing of the boardwalk that's on the land there.
But if I understand it correctly, the vast majority of these dollars are for those overlooks, right? I mean, you talked about
Yes, of course.
$40,000.
310 on one and 200 on the other.
Yeah, it just-
$500,000.
I just don't see it.
So is it a lot less expensive to just do a concrete thing like on the ground?
Oh,
Is that
yeah,
what
it's a
you're
lot more
saying?
expensive because,
It'd be a fraction of this.
Okay, I'm just asking, I didn't know. Okay.
It's just-
I would guess it'd probably be somewhere around, depending on the length, if I'm guessing, probably somewhere close to 50,000, I would say, for the
Okay.
concrete to do that without going over the river is what was
Right.
talked about.
Yeah.
At the boat launch too?
At the boat launch, it's gonna be more because it's longer, it's a bigger area.
Well, and that wood is harder to keep looking nice and maintained.
Oh, yeah, because that's the other thing, it gets in bad shape
And that's
after a
the
few
point.
Yeah,
years.
that's 25 years and it's gone. So, your
And
deck's
it's
not
taken
gonna...
some maintenance. I mean, we had to have volunteers come and maintain it for us several times over the years. We've had people,
We've not been keeping up, I can't,
we don't have the staff to
Neil.
keep it.
Neil.
Neil's a son.
Oh, yeah,
Wes,
Les.
yes,
Yeah, less than some other people have
Yes.
volunteered to fix these things.
correct, yes,
Otherwise, they'd be even in worse shape.
correct.
Because we don't have the time and staff and money to do it, so it's also a maintenance headache.
Yeah, well, these types of things, that's what's the structural issues that are there, our staff couldn't do, fix them
No.
anyway, so.
Well, he went and put up, I think, some of that screening that's there even. There's some
Public
volunteers
Works did that back
Yeah.
about 6 years ago, 8 years ago, when Les was bringing it up. It used to be what we think was a boat landing, or not like a spot where a boat would pull up and get out, because there never was railings on the one left side of that upper picture. It just was never made with railings, and at some point within the last 10 years, we put, there's plexiglass, and then there's some woven wire mesh there's now too.
I guess I don't remember that, but in any event, wood in water, I mean, it's a nightmare in my book.
Throw in ice and
Yeah, throwing ice and snow and,
And that's why we try to give you some options there, because Riverside Park is for, for us, and I know we've talked about with the Parks Committee, that's really the last little bit that, kind of would finish out that park.
and quite frankly, I think in long term, if you're gonna spend larger dollars, I would rather see us, partnering with St. Louis to extend the trail down the river towards St. Louis, and I think that's a better longer term goal than having these overlooks that are maintenance prone. I mean, I think St. Louis would be interested in connecting those trails. We've talked about it over the years, and if you're gonna go for something big, why not go for expanding it over and connecting that? But that's,
So what are you suggesting for this area right here?
I would suggest wherever there's an overlook, don't replace it. Get rid
Okay,
of
so
it.
this area doesn't have an overlook, so you're not talking about,
So that area, yeah, there is an overlook there.
There is
There is
an
a deck going out
There
over the
is a
shore.
deck there on this
oh, I didn't know it was over water, I thought it was just over
But
stone.
the structure where the roof would go and the tables and things are on concrete, I believe. So, fix that, fix the equipment we've got there, the tables, the roof, whatever it needs to make it nice again. But not build out over the river anymore. Because we've also got another section of river that goes from, like the railroad tracks on Ely back towards the library, that's all wood and not in great shape either. And that one, you may not have any choice about building wood.
That one you have to, because it's in the flood area, yeah.
Because either that or you can't build it on the water itself.
Well, and the elevations to go down to the ground and
Yeah.
the EA compliance, yeah, it would have to stay
Well,
out.
yeah.
So, do we have to, when we apply for these grants, do we have to give an exact plan what we're going to do? Or is it just saying that we're gonna replace this? And so, if we apply for the grant and we decide not to do the wood and we decide to do a cement, is that work? Or do we have to apply with the exact, because you'd have to start over basically with what we're asking.
We have to apply for what
Specifically.
what you're looking for, because it's a scope item.
Okay.
We're saying that we're putting on a roof, we're doing the cleanup of it, make whatever that is. And then we're putting in a new boardwalk or,
We're eliminating dangerous boardwalks and
yeah, well, that would be your
That'd be
case, is like
yeah.
remove that to make it more AD accessible,
Yeah.
providing a concrete path for fishing and access to the river is what, you would, the generic.
Okay, I'm sorry, I keep asking this, but I'm trying to picture it in my head, maybe I just need to stop there. So that top picture that we're looking at on the left, that goes over the river?
Yes, where you see that boardwalk go
Yeah.
out.
So you're saying put cement all the way there?
Well, you could put cement into the,
That piece there
yeah.
goes,
You could only go as far as the edge of the river bank, because that takes you
So we're
further
gonna
out.
end, I'm just wondering like how you would change it and apply, so what would we do in that section that goes over the river?
It wouldn't go over the river anymore.
And it doesn't.
So we're gonna end it at the
you
pavilion?
redirect it so it connects on land.
Yeah.
Go to the next
You know how
picture
it goes out
down.
and out over the river and back.
The next picture down from that one. There's a better shot of where it goes, right there. That's the part,
Yeah, it's on our bank.
yeah, where it winds out
could-
there.
You would just put, concrete or most likely concrete, because that works better, or it lasts longer. Right along the riverbank, instead of taking where the boardwalk goes out into the,
Oh, that's what I didn't remember that bump
this
out.
portion right here still does go over the edge of the river. Just want to be clear, it's not just flat dirt underneath of that.
That's what I-
This part for sure goes over the river. Right about here, going to there is an area that's elevated over the riverbank because there's riprap down there, there's dirt, that type of thing. It's not flat like you see here. You see here where the grade is, where
Yeah.
this goes down with the
Yeah,
hole?
okay.
That
So the whole
still,
thing is kind of out over the
this
river
still
anyway.
would go over top of the river if you went right next, along the river bank. If you went straight through and connected it right there, it would still have
So
some.
you have to re-engineer the walkway to
You
go.
will still have an elevated
Yeah,
portion
someplace.
there to make it go straight through, so that's not a simple just slap concrete down.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's what, okay, thank
The
you.
other
That's
two,
what I was trying to figure
theoretically,
out.
you could do that. This one, though, would still take some.
Well, you can re-engineer that and bring it so it's on land though. I mean, that walkway.
Theoretically, if you can get permission from the state to fill that in because it's the riverbank floodway.
Or you can just build the sidewalk back where you've got dirt and go on the other
But
side.
that's
of
the
that.
pavilion.
You could go on this and you'd have to wrap it around that pavilion or reconstruct this so you don't have the amphitheater portion there if you were going directly over it, to stay out of that riverbank area.
Because that amphitheater's concrete, isn't it? That's not dirt.
Yeah, that's concrete, but there's steps right there. There's these two steps. that
So if you just went on the other side of the pavilion,
You could wrap around it if
Yeah.
that were to go flat. Or there's a concrete walkway right now, you just terminate it right there and walk around.
oh, there's already a walkway there? Okay.
Yep, and then you basically block that.
Is anybody aware of that amphitheater ever being used as an amphitheater? I've done a lot of
I don't
stuff
think
in the
that
park.
it's an
and I-
amphitheater,
Well, I
but
mean
they
outdoor.
sit there. A lot of people sit there.
Okay.
But you could leave that there. I mean, that.
Yeah.
Summer programs and things.
But I've never seen anything done there. I've never been in anything that was over.
I've never observed any real activities other than,
For
picnics,
amphitheater,
family
right.
gatherings, people
Yeah.
kind of hang out under there.
Sure.
The one over by the library gets used some. And
Yep.
Of course, the ones, the
Yeah, we use
pavilions
that
in Ray Park
for
always.
Lucky
get
McDuck Day and other stuff
Yeah.
over there. But I've never, we've done some performances, Reader's Theater and stuff, did some performances down on the other half of Conservation Park, readings and stuff in there, but I've never seen that used as an amphitheater, so it could be changed without, put the walkway back where the amphitheater is and put a couple of benches on it for people to sit and look out over the river.
When do these have to be in?
Yeah, that's the question.
Next week.
Yesterday, yeah.
It's Monday next week. We're just gonna submit.
Not possible.
Well, if we're not gonna, if this is something we don't wanna spend money on, that,
You don't want to
it's just
submit it.
You don't wanna submit
Yeah.
it, so it's up to the board. I mean, it's, like, that's why I brought.
I would be against
options.
that. To me, it's
So
too
if
much money.
we went back to the drawing, I'm just hypothetically, if we went back to the drawing board and everything aligned tomorrow, which it won't, but if it did, that we could come up with cement ideas and the cost and everything, let's say next month, and we didn't apply for this. Is there other grants that we could apply for to help with that? Or are we just talking we'd pay for it out of our?
Not through, not through DNR, because it's once a year program.
Next
I
year.
mean, it's annual, we can do it next year.
Yeah, yeah. But, these are substantial dollars.
Right.
And like I said, it has to come from, it would have to come out of general fund, I'm sorry, fund balance, to pay for those matches. And
So I'm just asking like, okay, if
these
we,
one things do need to be rebuilt.
right, so that's what I'm saying, like, okay, if we were gonna do whichever the general, like, we would have to match half of this.
Well,
So the money that we would potentially
Be
have
in the
to,
running, I think we have to.
Yeah.
yeah, like say number A, or letter A, that's the least cost, like taking care of Riverside Park from a staff point of view and the park board. If we could clean up the rest of this, we got Riverside Park in really good shape. So if you were just looking at that project with what we proposed, is doing the deck, all that
Yeah.
wooden stuff, taking care of the pavilion and all the amenities around that, you don't have to do 50% match, but you have to do a minimum of 25% match.
okay, so my
And
question
50%.
is if we don't apply for these, we're done, we all decided we're not gonna apply for these. But if we're looking at this and then out of the fund balance, we thought we might have to spend $200,000. Could we do the improvements that we're thinking about for 200,000? So that we could get these started?
It just depends on what's on right there.
I would say apply for A.
For A,
I mean,
yeah.
there's no guarantee we're gonna get it, and I feel like if there's money that we could get towards it, that it's an investment a good investment on our part. These things are gonna have to
A
be
would
done
basically
anyway.
clear up this, and fix the pavilion, put a cover on the pavilion, put that table back, do whatever other stuff needs
all
to be done.
brand new,
All brand new stuff there.
Because we don't
And just-
apply this year.
and just get
We're
that
another
part
year
done.
behind
Well,
doing
and
anything.
if you're worried about the amount of money we're putting into it, we could drop the
No,
the
my
match
question was
down
just
to
like,
say 25%.
if we're thinking we're applying for this and we're gonna use $230 of our, 230,000 of our fund, could we, if we don't get the grant, could we use $230,000 and do the improvement?
I think if we were gonna use 230,000, we might as well apply to get another 230,000.
No,
I don't think
I'm
we
saying
can.
if we
I mean,
didn't get the
can,
grant, if we
can
applied for.
I mean, I don't think we
guess.
can. Do you think, I mean, I don't think we
Well,
can.
how about we do this? Because they do give us, like we did last time with the bathrooms, remember they gave us our scoring? And then we could and we did move our match up, because we started out, I think, at 35 or something, and we did move our match up. We just put in for, say, the 25% of the 460,000, we do a 25% match. Put the application in for that. And if they come back saying for close, we'll have the numbers, and if we need to update.
Need a higher match.
Also, we'll know for close. You pretty much know if you're gonna have a chance at getting it.
Right.
Once they give you your scoring. So we could go that
Yep,
route.
that sounds reasonable.
I think A, at 25,000, or 25%, is where we should start, because the others, as we're talking about, are all things that we need to relook at. The boat landing overlook dock, the conservation park overlook, those are all things that need to be reworked. But A is the Riverside project only, let's go ahead and get that done. Put it in at 25%, and if they want us to bump it to 35, we can do that and still get something done.
And I would assume with all the overlooks, this is the most heavily trafficked, right? I mean, this is where people are at.
It's a
gathering place.
It's a gathering place, it's a focal point. And right now, is if you go do have a chance to go down and stand with the pedestrian bridge that walks across and with the dam there, that's when the dam does look good, because you're below where the algae blooms are at and things, you see that it does have a nice feature to it.
Aesthetic, yes.
Yeah, there's aesthetic to it.
I like A, regardless of the 25 or 50, but A makes sense to me, and I think it makes sense to look at removing the other two.
If we can get more for a buck, I think it's worth a try,
Yeah.
is my opinion. Because we're gonna have to do something.
I agree with A. My question was just, if we don't get it, are we going to be able to fix it without the grant?
No.
You'd have to change the scope. You can't do $600,000
No.
work for $230,000.
Yeah, we'd go back and look at, we have time to go in and look at other options.
It's okay. We're just moving on because we've talked about it for a half hour and I'm not getting across what I'm trying to.
No, I understand what I think,
Okay.
what I believe you're saying is, what could we do for 200,000 if we don't get this? And we can revisit that.
Right.
Certainly.
I'm saying we can
can't-
part of
like
it.
Greg said, we can't do.
No, I know that we can't do that. I do know numbers a little bit.
200,000, if we can.
If you went to like all the concrete, rather than any overlooks, you could probably do a good chunk of all of that. I mean, you probably get most of it done for 230,000. Is that a fair, that's just,
For the other two, I would very confidently say that a portion of this one, yes, the roof including. Just to answer your question, Michelle, this particular park here, as we're working on the budget right now and had those discussions the last few weeks, it's extremely tough to do without grants, because then it comes into general fund and that's very competitive to get that. So if you were to look at 200,000 to do this, you're going back to what we talked about in previous budgets. Pick one that you want to do, and then if that's your focus, that's where you're going to have to allocate some of the general fund CIP money. It makes it significantly tougher to do without grant money. And as these match funds, they leverage and it helps out a lot. So there's nothing wrong with this idea, and if we don't, then we're back to the drawing board, looking what, hybrid, what we were discussing, maybe going in front of that, looking at some aesthetics ideas, and that might be a good conversation for goal setting next year if we don't get it, with how we would relook at these.
Maybe Merrill Fab will donate us.
not to, doing other topics, but, we've also got a lot of other needs around town. And we got a library roof that's, I believe, about aging out. It's got all the HVAC systems that are about aging out.
The roof within the next 5 to 8 years will be a serious
So-
discussion.
I have a
Those things are
roof
not cheap.
I have a roof here too that I'll have to-
And there's lots of needs out there that. in my
Compete for
mind-
the general fund money, which is true, but if we can get somebody to pay for half of something, then it sometimes is worth it to tip into
Amen.
the fund balance to pay, to get a $400,000 job done for $200,000 is kind of a not bad idea.
But you still got an asset in my mind
Yes,
that
you do.
you can't afford to maintain.
You're right.
And I'd rather have concrete that I'm pretty sure we can maintain that.
True.
And replace
Not
a
questioning
piece of
that. I
concrete
think
every now and
I
then.
think going with the concrete is a better idea. The wood is neat and rustic and all that stuff.
Oh, it looks beautiful. If we had the money,
Yeah.
I'd love it, absolutely, but
Doesn't make sense anymore.
If we could get some of those pots of money from the county parks.
anything, now you're singing my song.
Well, amen. I think we're all,
Jan's here.
just had to jam it in
Any more
there.
comments for the public hearing? Is there any member of the public that would like to address the commission on this topic? This is a public hearing. If you'd like to address the commission,
Does the
please-
grant, can you say ADA in the grant?
could you please go to the podium and state your name and address? I'm sorry, but
Make you official.
I didn't know what the current climate of the government, can you put ADA in the grant? Will that be wrong because it's DEI?
No, it's required, it's part of the requirements that everything must meet the ADA. And in some cases, you
So
could,
far.
yeah, in some cases, you do get more points if you go above and beyond and use universal design, which is a whole other level that they look at.
this is all Michigan money too.
This is
This
Michigan.
isn't federal money.
Okay.
Can you state your name and address for the
Yeah, we need
record?
Brenda Pratt, 416 Yale Avenue.
I'm sorry, what was that? I didn't catch.
Brenda Pratt, 416 Yale.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Anybody else like to address the commission? Crowd, okay. Well, we would entertain a motion to close the public hearing then.
Support.
We have motion support, the last chance for comments or questions. I hear none, all those in favor please say yes.
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 Any opposed, no. Motion is carried, the hearing is closed. Now, we'd entertain a motion for a resolution to approve an application to the Michigan Department of Natural Resources for a grant for recreational asset improvements.
So moved. Support.
You gotta tell us some more
Oh,
details, sorry.
Sorry,
A at 25%? Is that what we're
Yes, to
looking for?
begin with 25%, correct.
Okay, so we have a motion on the table for option A on this sheet at 25%.
Should it be in the motion that we would go to 50 if need be, because otherwise could we not do that if that were
I
the
don't
case?
think you can do that.
You can do that later.
Can we do that later? Okay, I just didn't want to get stuck. Well, no, you said 25, you can't go to 30, so.
No, we can
okay,
go up.
Okay, fine.
So at 25%, that would, we'd be requesting $345,000, and our match would be $115,000. Okay.
Okay. Everybody understand the motion?
Yes.
Did we get a second? I think we did.
Second.
Yeah, probably should have. Yep. Thank you. So motion is to apply for option A at 25% match. All those in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed, no. I will vote no. But the motion has carried, so thank you. Moving down to request for purchase. Consideration of request for purchase to Medler Electric in the amount of $34,420.56 for 8 new black post-top lights to replace lights in the downtown area.
Move to approve.
Support.
Have motion support.
In your newsletter, I did put a couple photos in there for the block it's gonna be. It's gonna replace the old sodium 1970s lights with the black ones, with the LED. It'll be the ring type of engine inside of it that looks like the newer ones are at, like in front of the college. The Medler quote, we did try to get some other quotes, but the brand, the brand that is built and sold is the same that's sold by other dealers, yes, dealers. So we did receive an email from the company who makes this equipment and said that they'd be more, obviously it's more willing to get a second quote, but the best price is going to be with Medler because they are the preferred vendor in our area and did the work to get the quote for us. So we did try to look at some other quotes, but appreciate it.
But did you look at a different style of light from a different manufacturer?
If you change the style, you change all of them, right?
Well,
Right.
Depending on the price. I don't know.
Well, it's the style that.
No, we didn't. These are the matches for the ones in front of the college and the others downtown. They're the same manufacturer, same style.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm good with that.
I just, wanted to give you that explanation of, why there's that one there.
In the theme of not looking hodgepodge together,
Well,
I'm okay with
Well,
it.
our goal is to keep going forward in the budget
Yeah.
to replace them, so.
Okay. Anybody more comments? Nope. All those in favor, please say yes.
yes.
Any opposed, no. Motion's carried. Thank you. Next up, consideration of request to purchase to DA Central Incorporated in the amount of $28,019.74 for the purchase and installation of an access card reader system for the DPW garage.
Move to approve.
Support. Motion and support.
All right, yes, card readers like we have on City Hall here and library, all those places that have secured access. Just one more step to make those areas secure. We want the general public in. This is the low bid that we got. We did receive 2 others for SBS at $32,000. Those are in your packets as well. $32,264 and Secure Alarm at $40,561. We did, see if we had any others. Nope, those are the 3 that we got. So, and it's the low bidder at $26,746.45 that we're recommending.
What was that?
That's not what
That's not the
it's
right.
No, this isn't the agenda.
2819.
Oh, I wrote down the pre-tech, must be the installation cost or something.
2809.
Because there was a $2,000,
What's in here?
yeah. I wrote down it's 28.
Okay.
It's 28, what's there? Sarah's got that right.
Do we have questions? Of course I do. Is it the same system, the same company, same vendor we're using for the other buildings for the City Hall and others is different vendor, different system?
Dave Randall, Public Services Director. Same card reader system, different vendor that's installing them, but it's through the same manufacturer that's here, library, and that will be over there.
Okay. Is this just for the building itself, or is this some system for the gates as well? 'Cause that area is gated, so.
This is just for the doors. We are looking for future budgets for the gates themselves, but that's not a part of this as well.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Appreciate that. Anybody else? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed, no. Motion's carried. Thank you. Thanks, Dave. Next, we are considering a resolution to purchase from Weatherby Plumbing and Heating Incorporated in the amount of $12,152 for replacement toilets, faucets, and stainless steel sinks for the Euclid Street Ball Field restrooms.
Move to approve.
Support. Motion and support.
Yep,
Background, or-
getting a rehab to those bathrooms that are over there, drastically
They're
needed.
very much needed.
We are gonna put in the fixtures like we have in the other bathrooms in the parks, the stainless steel, to try to help with any of the vandalism.
Prison fixtures.
The prison fixtures, yes, the prison fixtures. Weatherby's was the low bid. We did get one other bid from Custom Heating and Plumbing at $17,550. And we did ask Adams and First Class Plumbing for a bid, and one declined and one was no response.
Okay. Questions? And I guess I apologize, I haven't been in there in years in that building. Is that building in good shape?
It's usable.
Does it need to be painted or anything while it's all torn apart? Does it make sense to paint it at the same time? At least inside, but sometimes you get it emptied out, you can go in there with a sprayer and do something for a fraction of what it's gonna cost to do later.
Last I was in there now, Bard, that was a year ago. Paint's in decent shape, but we can look into that while it's torn down. But we can look into that.
Okay,
Probably a good idea, yep.
just a thought.
I know the doors out in the exterior have been refurbished. I'm looking at Curtis because he remembers you're part of those conversations, because they've been heavily vandalized and trying to keep those doors still useful over there, so.
I thought we replaced those at one point, or did we not?
We probably did at one point, but
Probably farther back than I remember.
folks aren't kind to things, unfortunately.
Yeah, yeah. All right, anybody else have questions? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed, no. Motion is carried. Thank you.
Just let everybody know, we won't start this until after the Little League season, so if there's any questions, it probably won't start up until after July.
Oh, so they're not going to do it until the...
Probably not gonna be a good way to have these things done. We'll talk about it, but once the season starts, we'll try to see if we can do it ahead of time, but I just wanna let everybody know if they go over there and wonder if we're approving this, why isn't it in? Just depends how that Little League season.
Logistics may be preventing it. Yeah, that makes sense. Thanks, Dave. Okay, resolutions. We're going to consider a resolution ratifying the following investments for the city funds. We have before us 1 CDARS, 2 CDs, ranging from 368 to 380 rates for various time periods. Your pleasure.
Move to adopt.
Move to adopt. Support.
Got lots of motions, lots of support. Anybody have comments or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say yes.
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 Any opposed, no. And I will abstain. So the motion is passed. Thank you. Consideration of a performance resolution required by the Michigan Department of Transportation authorizing the annual application and permit for miscellaneous operations within state highway right-of-way, which will include the street closures and banner placements in conjunction with the 2025 special community events for use on the state highway right-of-way.
Move to adopt.
Yes.
Have a motion, do we get support?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. We had support as well. Do you want to cover anything here? This is our new banner poles, right?
These are our new banner poles, the banners up there. And just so everyone knows, we did, because we were waiting on one other parade, I think we got it, so hopefully we don't have any, it'd be great not to have a complaint about something. So I think we got it figured out for this year. It'll be smoother for one of our parades. But we put the banner up for the Spring Art Show before this is being approved. But we did call MDOT to make sure it was okay with them for us to put that up before we sent them this. So we did, as someone asked, we did call MDOT to give permission to do that, so.
And I just, one question that came to mind as we were talking about this, and thinking about it ahead of time, but is there, with those poles we put up, those things are massive. Is there, engineering give us any size of the banners that can fit on there? How big, what's the maximum size? And have we made like the Chamber of Commerce and all these different groups available or aware of what the sizes are?
Yeah, I sent something actually because Adam Viver emailed me. I sent him information for the festival. Yep.
Perfect.
Yep. The spring one that's up there, the group that's dealing with that, they've reached out. That's the one they have there, so yes.
Is that the maximum size?
It's 19 foot 2 inches by 24 or 19 feet 2 inches by 24 inches.
And that's the max?
That's what we've been told.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, we don't want to see that.
Well, it's really
that's what the engineers rated it for.
It's really about the cabling too, the cables too and stuff that they're rated at too. It's not just the poles.
Yeah.
Because
those poles look like they're
yes.
here.
They should, hopefully they're there.
Bridge up.
Yeah. They're there forever.
Yeah, we can put all of our overlooks on those things. All right, anybody else have comments or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor please say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed would be no. Motion's carried. Thank you. Agreements. First up, we're to consider a resolution to approve a mandatory agreement number 2022-0005/A1, which is between the Michigan Department of Transportation and Alma Transit. This will be for a one-year extension of the 2022 master agreement, which will allow for project authorizations to be issued for one additional program year.
Move to adopt.
Support.
Okay, we have a motion and support. I assume this is to do with our building?
It's a part of that, and it's a once-a-year thing that we're doing currently, and it just, if we hire an outside contractor to do something, then MDOT's saying that
Gotta have the agreement.
that's our contractor, not their contractor.
Okay. All right. Anybody have questions? Hearing none, all those in favor please say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed, no. The motion is carried. Thank you. Next up, we're to consider resolution approving contract number 24-5602 with the Michigan Department of Transportation to fix rights and obligations of the parties related to the extension of Charles Avenue concrete shared use path. Also to authorize the city manager to execute the related documents.
Move to adopt.
Support.
The motion support.
This is our grant that we got for the small spaces and places. It'll finish up the last 600 feet of our multi-use path on Charles Avenue from Alma Product to the rail trail. It's being designed right now. That should be done soon to go out for bid, and this is our agreement with them.
Great.
Good news.
Yes.
Okay, all those in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed, no. Motion's carried. Thank you. Reports of officers, boards, and committees. Commissioners may receive the following reports by one resolution, or any commissioner may remove any item within the section for individual discussion and vote. Before us tonight, we have a Finance February 2025 report and the City Manager's report. Your pleasure.
And just, we don't need to pull my report because I can do the one thing that we need to talk about in public comment. So, or
Move to
Commissioner-
approve, or receive 1 and 2 reports.
How about that?
How about
Okay, any comments or questions? Last chance. All those in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed, no. Motion's carried. Reports are received. Appropriations. Anyone in favor of paying bills?
Move to pay the appropriations.
Support.
We have motion support. Does anybody have questions about the aforementioned bills? Hearing silence. All those in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed, no. Motion's carried. Appropriations are paid. Commissioner comments. Roxanne, would you like to lead off tonight?
I have nothing tonight, thank you.
Right along.
When
Roger.
you don't give me time to think, I can't.
I stalled as long as I can.
I know, but I can't, yeah.
I just wanted to extend the official condolences of the commission to the Nguyen family with the tragedy that has taken place on that family. That's kind of a family in a mess right now, with one of the kids in San Francisco, one of them in medical school at CMU, one of the other girls still in college, and then 3 other small girls. The father was the sole support of that family and the business. So what's going to happen to any of that stuff right now is up in the air. And it's, he was a well-loved man. I didn't know him personally, but a lot of people did. And it's really tough to have happen. Our condolences.
Okay, thank you. Sonia. Michelle.
Nothing for me.
True. I agree. Eric.
Yeah.
You got
Yes,
something,
I
right?
just had one thing I wanted to.
You promised.
I promise. Our north-south passenger rail project planning phase, we will be having a stakeholder meeting here in Alma at the Alma Public Library on May 8th, which is a Thursday, from 1:30 to 3 o'clock. This is the first time we're just getting together as a stakeholder meeting. The public is welcome to come. I'd like to get as many of the commissioners there as possible. I'm also we'll be sending it to the DDA, the Planning Commission, and a few other folks in the community on the economic development side of things. So anyway, this is our first face-to-face with folks. There'll be more to come. Also, they're working on a survey that will be going out as well for folks to fill out as part of this phase, not just the stakeholders, but the public in general. But again, the public is welcome to come, but I'd love to have as many of the commissioners there as possible.
Very good, thank you.
On that, I just wanted to mention, I think April 4th, somebody gave me a comment today on something that I posted on the railroad. I believe it's April 4th, the 1225 will be coming through Alma. You might want to mark that on your calendars. It must be I don't know what it's for, going up to Traverse City or whatever, but it's always fun to see. So it's usually, if it comes through, it usually comes rolling through here between 9 and 10 o'clock in the morning. So I'll put stuff on if I find out anything more about it, but kind of fun.
Yeah.
I think there's a trip. I think I read something on the paper maybe. I don't know if it's got anything to do with that. I don't know.
Probably, that's probably it. I'll have to go to their website and see.
Seemed like it was a fundraiser or something. I don't know if I must have caught in the paper this morning, but anyway.
Sure is fun.
I'm sure there's more information out there, so. And I have nothing, so we'll open up to members of the public. If there's any members of the public that would like to address the commission, please go to the podium, state your name and address, and you have up to 5 minutes to share your thoughts. If anybody's so inclined. I'm not seeing a lot of movement of our vast public. We do appreciate them being here tonight, so with that, we can entertain a motion to adjourn our meeting for this evening.
So moved. Support.
We have motion support. Last chance for comments or questions. I hear nothing. All those in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed, no. Motion's carried. We are adjourned. Thank you very much. Everybody have a great, safe evening.